Alright guys, welcome to AP1 Lab. This is going to introduce you to the course, and this is one of the first things you have to do to be able to access your materials. And so we're just going to go over some of the basics for the class and hopefully answer some questions that you might have. A lot of this will be in the syllabus whenever you go over that as well. Alright, so the first thing is you are in a hybrid course. When we move to 8 weeks instead of 16-week courses, essentially it can't all be done in class. And so we will meet for 8 weeks, and about half of that will be face-to-face. We'll meet twice a week, and then the rest of the course is going to be expected to be done at home. And we will be using the Moodle platform in order for you to do that. So attendance is a little bit different this year, and this is why I'm having to redo this video. So in the past we took attendance every day. I will still take attendance each day because I think attendance is very important, but technically Texarkana College is no longer an attendance taking institution. And really what that means for you guys is it has to do with your drops. Now I'm just going to tell you right now, AMP is a hard course, whether it's lecture or lab, and so attendance is going to be necessary, especially in a lab setting. If you're not here to do the work, you're probably not going to be successful on the test. Also in lab, our tests are in person, and so if you miss a test, you will not get an opportunity to make that up. So even though we may not be taking attendance and we will not drop you for poor attendance, it is really, really important that you are here every day if at all possible. Whatever we're doing in class is important, and we're not just wasting time, okay? So we will meet twice a week for 90 minutes. I do encourage you to get there on time and stay for the whole class. There will be some things that if you are not there, you will not be allowed to make them up. Of course, there are things that you will be doing on your own, and so obviously you can do that outside of the class time. But as it says down here, we are not obligated to provide opportunities if you are not here. So even though we may not be taking attendance or holding you accountable for your attendance, if you aren't in class, you may not get the opportunity to do assignments. So this is kind of the new attendance policy, and by the way, this is all in your syllabus. In fact, there's more, it goes into more detail, and I'll just kind of summarize for you. The biggest difference here is that we, as the instructors, are no longer dropping you if you stop attending or stop completing your work. So if you decide that this course is not working out for you and you do not want to come anymore, it is most likely in your best interest that you go to the enrollment services office and you drop yourself. Instructors are no longer dropping students when you stop coming, okay? And so here's how it's going to work in terms of grades. If you continue to be a part of the class and let's say you don't pass, then you will essentially end the course with an F. Now, if you just stop coming before the drop date, before whatever the drop date is for that semester, instead you will receive a WF. And what that means is you stopped attending, okay? And so what that can do is that can affect both of the Fs are going to affect your GPA, but the WF is going to show that you just quit coming. And so that could affect your financial aid or things like that as to whether or not you will continue to get it. So it's really important that if you decide that you do not want to continue in the course, that you go and withdraw yourself, okay? And as I said, there's more information in the syllabus about the difference in the grades and what they mean, but pretty much instructors are no longer responsible or able to drop students who just stop showing up. Now for this course, you are going to need a lab manual. These are available in the bookstore. They were created by Karen Grisham, so we're kind of using the materials that she created, but we will be using this lab manual. Hopefully you're watching this before the first day of class, and if you have not gotten it, you can go get it before we begin, but if not, you need to get this ASAP. This will be our main material for the lab, and so I would definitely encourage you to go and pick that up before class begins. We do not have a textbook for lab. All right, when it comes to grades, you have two categories. You're going to have your test category, which is 70% of your total grade. There are 7 total lab tests. You do only get one opportunity per test, and each test carries the same weight. So essentially 10% here. Each test is 10% of your test average, okay, making up a total of 70% of your total average. So obviously the tests are pretty heavily weighted. Each test that you're going to take in lab are 50 questions. They are timed, and you will be taking them during normal class time with a fill-in-the-blank handout, and it's something that you do have to do in class. And it's very important that you show up on time because we will be starting those within the first 10 minutes or so. And if you were to show up late, you may not be allowed to take that test. So please be sure you show up on time. It is important that you know the material. There's no multiple choice. There's no matching. It is all from your brain, and you will not have a word bank. Now, all of your other assignments in lab are going to be on Moodle. They're going to be kind of homework assignments that you do for each unit, and they will make up the remaining 30%. It is very important that you pay attention to due dates because they will not be reopened for you. So usually you have the whole time period of the unit to get them done. Your homework assignments will close on midnight the day of the test, and so it's very important that you get those completed. 30% may not sound like a lot, but these can be a savior when it comes to your lab overall average. Now, on your assignments in lab, most of them have multiple attempts. And so I would encourage you to do it as many times as necessary to get a good grade, because the higher we can get this category, the better off we will be on our test. Not only will it give you more practice and preparation, but it'll also give you an overall better grade. So I would encourage you to, if you have multiple attempts, do it as many times as necessary to get a good grade, preferably a 100. Now, I will drop the lowest grade. Actually, I'll drop the lowest 2 grades in this category. With AP1, there's a lot of assignments, and so I will drop your 2 lowest. That way, if you do happen to forget or something. But I just want to remind you that I will not be reopening assignments. So if you miss deadlines, it will result in zeros on those homework assignments. All right, now your Moodle page is going to be very important to you. So this is the first video that you're watching for the course. The next video that you're going to watch is going to be all about Moodle. And so because of the hybrid format, you will rely heavily on your Moodle page. The look has changed a little bit. All of this right here is now on a sidebar, a drop-down box. It's taken a little bit to get used to it, but essentially the materials that you need to be successful in this course are going to be on your Moodle page. Now, to get started, obviously, if you're watching this video, you have found this, because on your welcome page is where you find the welcome video, and there's going to be a lot of important information available in the beginning of your Moodle as to how you're going to navigate the class. So the first thing you have to do is watch this welcome video, and then there's going to be a very short and easy quiz over the video when you complete it. Once you do that, you are then going to move to a Moodle video of kind of how to navigate Moodle, and then you're going to take a very short and easy quiz over that. Now, after those 2 have been completed, you will then be looking at your syllabus for the course, and there's a whole separate unit for the syllabus. As always, the syllabus has valuable information that you need to know for the course, and so things like the attendance policy, the grades that we just saw, our makeup policies, all of those things are going to be available on the course syllabus. So there will be a video that goes over the syllabus. This one is not required like the other 2 are, but you are required to take a quiz. And this one will be a quiz with actual questions on it that you'll be able to use your syllabus to answer. All right, so once you get your welcome quiz, Moodle quiz, and syllabus quiz complete, you are then able to see the units in your lab on Moodle. And so for each unit, there's going to be materials and assignments there to help you. You will get a course schedule on day 1, and there's also 2 places on your Moodle page where you can find the course schedule. And this is something that you need to be very, very familiar with, because this essentially tells you what we're doing every day. If there's any changes or exceptions, you will be notified in class, and that's yet another reason that it's important that you show up to class. So for each lab practical, there's going to be a set of notes. There's either going to be 1 or more than 1 PowerPoints to cover the material. And then these PowerPoints go along with the handouts in your notebook that you bought from the bookstore. Also on the Moodle page are going to be some practice activities and graded assignments that you will need to do for that unit. Now, most of the assignments are on the Moodle page. There are sometimes some things that we will do in class, like the osmosis lab or dissections, and so it's important that you're there for those. But for the most part, all of your homework assignments will be on Moodle under the graded section. Now, if they're under the graded section, these are required. Everything is going to be kind of highlighted in red when it's for a grade, and as I mentioned earlier, these lab assignments can be done multiple times, so I would encourage you to do them as many times as you need to get the material correct. Also, as always, no late work accepted, so please be sure you're paying attention to those due dates. Now, also on Moodle are going to be a lot of practice materials. There's practice tests, there's practice materials, there's Quizlets, things like that. Now, you do not have to do these items, however, most of those are on there to help you learn the material. There are some assignments that will be locked. Mostly this is going to be at the very beginning, but you can't move into new assignments until you've completed things that are required. And so if you ever see this lock on an assignment in Moodle, you can click on it and it'll tell you what needs to be completed. All right, communication. This is going to be really, really important for your success. Now, the first thing I want to tell you is that if you are in an in-person class, feel free to communicate with me face-to-face, in person. I would encourage you to stay after class or come to see me during my office hours. Those are going to be posted in the syllabus as well as outside of my office door. But if you have a question or a concern, or you're struggling, or you just need help with something, please feel free to communicate with me in person. I feel like I'm pretty approachable, and I'm more than happy to help you in any way that I can, but I can't help you unless you come to me. Now, another way to communicate with me is through email. So maybe you are going to miss a class or something like that. I would encourage you to reach out by email. It is important that you kind of give me a little information. I have a lot of classes and a lot of students, and so I may not always remember, especially if I've only had you for a day or two. So just kind of let me know who you are, what class you're in, and be specific about what I can help you with. If you ever come across something you aren't sure about, you're more than welcome to send some screenshots, and I'll get back to you as soon as I possibly can. But please let me know who you are so I can kind of figure that out and figure out what it is that you're needing. All right, the last thing is going to be a little bit about A&P tutors. Now, I don't have the official times as of right now because each semester they vary, but we do have a couple of tutors that will be available to you for A&P, and so I would encourage you to take advantage of them as well. One of our tutors is going to be in the model room where there's lots of models, and in lab, the more you can get your hands on the models, the better. So not only am I available to help you, but we also have tutors, and I will be posting those hours as soon as they are available. And at this point, you are ready to begin. So you're going to take a quiz showing that you watched this video, and then you're going to move on to your Moodle video and quiz, your syllabus and quiz, and then you are ready to begin the content. So here's my contact information if you need me for anything. I'm excited to work with you guys this year, and I'm ready to see you on day one. I hope you guys have a great one, and I will see you in class. Bye-bye.